Trucker.
Talkers, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Patriot Project. Tonight we are here. We got your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime show is going to bring you some interesting conversation. We are here weekly. We do this live show and then we turn it into a podcast every week. We do call it We Got Your 6 at 6 and we would like to remind you that is Central Time every Sunday on your social media. Check out our YouTube. You can find us on any of our Facebook pages, and I think it goes to Instagram, and then we put it on Rumble and all kinds of different places in video. And then you can catch the podcast in a lot of different places as well. Check us out on Heroes Media Group, and thanks to Adam Bird with that one. Every week we bring you a guest, and many times we bring you a musician. We share all the good and sometimes the not so good things that are happening in our world. Tonight, I would like to again say kudos to Bobby and Peggy Kretzinger and Take Care, because I heard they were in an accident today. Word is they're doing okay. They're just a bit shook up and making sure things are all good. So go Operation Texas Strong. You guys are strong. Keep up the good work. It is the 7th of May, 2023. We have some amazing guests planned tonight. I don't know for sure who will all show up. We're looking forward to Bob Waldrep. We initially met him in Nashville when we were celebrating with Chris Turner a couple years ago already now. He's a very busy man. He's going to tell us a lot of the things he has going on right now. We are going to have CW and 20 Hands High with CW Wooten on again tonight to share all of that with us. And I'm hoping if she doesn't stop in herself, we're going to tell you about some sparkle sticks later on. Before we get started with this week's show, I would ask that you take off your hats, stand if you can, and cover your heart as you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And here we are. We got a Facebook user with a hello out there. Who do we have?
Yeah.
Who do we have?
We see him. We see you. We are here. It's funny. We've been working on little tiny anecdotes and stuff to try to make the show bigger, better, badder. And we've never been able to do the rhythm of the Pledge of Allegiance, like where everyone. And so then we created the one with the words, and Andrea does such an amazing job all the time and just leading that in the first place. And I don't have a solution to that right yet. Do you guys have a solution, or we just let Andrea run with it and we just have to follow her? I guess that's the best way to do it.
Probably. It seems like there might be some latency issues.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to solve that.
Yeah, I really think that's everyone's
brother Tim Newton. A lot of things going on this week. Lots of things. I know Mr. Jonathan is going to share the news with us, so.
Oh, I can do that now?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll start off with the month of May is National Military Appreciation Month. Congress designated May as National Military Appreciation Month in 1999 to ensure the nation was given the chance to publicly show their appreciation for troops past and present. May was chosen because it has many individual days that are marked to note our military's achievements, including Loyalty Day, Victory in Europe Day, commemorating the end of World War II in Europe, 1945, and Children of the Fallen Patriots Day. May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's a time to raise awareness of and reduce the stigma that surrounds the behavioral health issues, as well as highlight the ways how mental illnesses and addiction can affect everyone. May 12th is National Military Spouse Appreciation Day, annual observance that takes place on the Friday preceding Mother's Day. It shows appreciation for the commitment and sacrifice that the spouses of service members make, together with the rest of the family, while they're away on the mission to defend the country. The day was initiated to recognize the importance of empowering military spouses and ensuring that they have what they need to thrive. Aside from enduring frequent changes and unexpected developments in their lives, military spouses often bear the responsibility of caring for the family and preparing the kids for many unknowns during military life, even when they cannot make plans for more than a few days in advance. They're often talked about in military communities as having one of the hardest jobs in the military, even though they are not personally enlisted in the military. And I would probably agree with that. May 13th is Children of the Fallen Patriots Day. The day aims to honor the pain and sacrifice of children who have lost a parent to martyrdom. The objective is to appreciate the young individuals who live tragically altered lives due to a parent passing away in the line of duty. May 13th was chosen as Children of Fallen Patriots Day because it was the day the Arlington National Cemetery was established in 1864. Nearly 1 in 4 of these children report having suicidal thoughts, while 30% say that they regularly feel sad or hopeless. May 14th, which is next Sunday, that's Mother's Day. And we'll do a little bit more about moms on that day. But get out there and show your mom some love and spend the whole week, and just Sunday, spend the whole week showing some love and plan to spend some quality time with her as much as possible leading up to next Sunday. You can buy gifts and all that, but I think they truly appreciate just being there and being recognized and being told that they're not forgotten and loved. And that's all I have for news.
Outstanding. There's so many dialogues I want to have in regards to people and their feelings and when they choose or want to do self-harm, and that's a whole conversation. Even though it's a news piece, it's the biggest piece that I find being in education that I think we are missing a gigantic grasp of is teaching people how to cope. It's avoided. I don't get, and again, this is a tough piece, and because I don't necessarily want all people of the world from all makes and kinds and this and that necessarily teaching my children how to cope. And so I where do you draw the line? Where do you, because there's some people that cope in different managements than I'm okay with. And that's that line. I don't know where it's at, and I'm willing to listen to anyone's feedback if they've got anything. But there's definitely in our network of education, there are. Sorry, I think there's some people in education that shouldn't be in education. Period. And I'm sure there's some people that feel that way about me. So that's I guess I'll live with that piece as well.
But I gotta step in because there's people in every career, every opportunity that probably haven't found their place or their match, or and that's a tough one, because honestly, it would be nice if teachers were able to be trusted and teachers would live up to that trust. I think that's all the way around. The biggest part, as in all career aspects, the biggest majority of people are there because they want to be there. And there are always those who's passing their time, biding their time, waiting for the next thing. But the majority of teachers are there because they want to be. The world's probably going to flip soon, but the kids are there in a few years. I don't know.
What's the baseline? Because there needs to be a baseline of understanding. There needs to be a baseline of coping where we're not indoctrinating any other type of sexuality, religion, genderism, something where you're not teaching them any indoctrinal type pieces, but it's like, hey, it's all right to have the feelings that you're having. This is how we can work through those feelings. And that's not telling someone, hey, it's, you should live this lifestyle. You should live this. This is a rabbit hole.
Opinion. I think the only safe way to do it would, from the, having to deal with children that aren't yours, I believe the safest way to do it is just to put it out there that you've got to be okay with having that conversation with whoever it is in your circle. You know what I mean? Your parents, your brother, your sister, whoever it is, whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever it is you need to cope with, you need to find somebody in your circle and you need to share that with them and let somebody else help you carry that burden or help you with their experience on how to get through it.
100%.
And I think there might be there is a very thin border. I'm pretty straightforward, and I will tell kids is, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt, but I'm gonna call it like I see it. And I use a lot of humor. I'll be like, you're all weird, because we're all weird in this together. We're middle schoolers, period. Right? That's period. Lucky for them, they're going to high school, and I'm staying right in the 8th grade. But I had a girl a long, long time ago who, honest to goodness, she's afraid of her own shadow. She's afraid of everything. And I was like, She always thought people were talking about her, even when there were no people around. And she shared a lot with me. I feel like there are times when we know these kids probably better than their parents do in certain aspects anyway. And she told me a few weeks after we had this long chat about all the people that were talking about her in the hallways and making fun of her and whatever, she came to me and said, "Hey, during break, I'm gonna get my hair turned blue." And this was kind of before everybody had different colored hair, right? And I just looked at her and went, "Really?" Because you know people are going to talk about you. I'm sorry, it's not common to have blue hair right now, and they're going to talk about you. And she reassured me, top to bottom, she was prepared for that. So, I mean, is it fair enough just to tell kids, hey, I'm not telling you to conform and be like little robots, but there are some rules and some guidelines we have to stay within, and then we have to be prepared if we step outside the box a little, and do step outside the box. That's where we find our individuality. But you gotta be ready for a little slap back sometimes, and that's all of us. All of us have to live with that.
If you're doing something to get attention, and you get attention, then you've made your goal, right? I mean, and I'm with you, Andrea, in the fact that, again, I care less if you have blue hair. I've seen it. Maybe the first couple times I saw it, I wasn't as accepting, but it wasn't like I was running up in their face and saying, "Hey, oh my gosh, you got blue hair." Well, they probably already know that already, and and it's okay. It's okay, and I want to celebrate individualism, and I want to celebrate all these pieces. I mean, I don't think the gauges in the ears is real cool. I may or may not have someone in my family that has more metal in their face, and I'd like them to. But I don't tear them down about it, and they probably think I do. It's not for me, and it doesn't have to be for me. But when it's not going down the path that they want it to be, and that's okay. You plan A, plan B, plan C. Try again. No, not everyone has to agree with your point of view. There's the truth. And if someone has an altered point of view of mine, it's okay for them to share it, and I don't have to agree with them. And we get all tied up in A, competition, B, I have to be right, C, this is the way. No, just sit back. And I know it's a bigger subject, my blue hair and stuff like that. We've got people taking their lives daily, 17 to 75 in our veteran world. I know everyone likes to use number 22. 6,000 veterans a year for the last 20 years.
That's a lot.
There's a super huge lot. And it's because of weak moments. It's because of the thought saying that there's no value to life at that moment, for that moment. And
sure.
It's so going back to the coping mechanism. If you're listening, if you're watching, and you know someone who is struggling, there are people willing to listen. I know 4 on the screen right now. One of our guests I hope is still coming. I haven't heard. I did a text to them, and stuff happens, and I get it. I mean, accidents happen. I mean, the Krutzingers were in their little fender bender today, and they probably weren't expecting that. And we're not throwing them under the bus, but Mr. Waldrep has a video and a trailer. Trauma Comes Home, the battle for the warrior family. That I want to show tonight, but I won't show unless Bob is here, so he can give us his insights. And he works in many areas and spaces. The promo for this weekend, we run into these superhero serve members that just don't stop, and their hands are in the middle of everything. And I know that they probably don't get the sleep that they need and should have, and Bob's one of those guys. He's a constant on the go. He's constantly working on something, and I hope we get to I hope he comes on yet tonight, but we'll get through those pieces. And if he doesn't make tonight, we'll get him on another night. So, but we do have CW Wooten on. CW, there's some rumors out there about you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you care, or is it a branding piece? Every time we ask everyone, is there anything that's off the table when we talk? What's CW stand for?
It's just my first and last initial, but I usually kid people when they ask me. I tell them it stands for Country and Western. That way they don't call me CJ; they remember CW.
Very good.
So it's a little joke that I use.
And I love it because we did hear that rumor. I'll tell you, it came from Jen Ford. And that was who we had you on last time. And we felt that you needed to have a full big picture of CW Wooten and 20 Hands High. And he's got some congratulations on your nomination at the Josie Awards.
Yeah, we just found that out Thursday. We got nominated in 3 categories. Artist of the Year, Traditional, Country, Male. Vocalist of the Year, Country, Male. And then Music Video of the Year.
Congratulations.
For our song, Same Old Star.
That is awesome. And I'm excited. And so should I drop any of our plans or ideas, or should I keep those close to my heart right now, Miss Eichmann?
It's up to you. You can share.
Let's get Bob in here real quick. He's looking like he's out of breath running. He's probably out serving the world again. So last year we did the WeP3 Nashville takeover, and a lot of people are like, well, what's the takeover? Well, the takeover is that me and Andrea have no business being down in Nashville, and we gathered 27 veteran musicians, all not in the same place, same time. We played 5 venues over 5 days. You could argue 6 venues over 5 days, and had the time of our lives. And the reason and the purpose for this was, it started off when our dear friend Tony Turner was nominated for a Josie Award, and we said, let's go celebrate with Tony. And so there was Tony, there was Adam Martin with Blackbird Anthem. There was I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to go from the hip today. There was 6 veteran and first responder musicians that were up for awards. And so then I reached out to the Passantinos who run the Josie Awards, Josie Passantino and her mom. And I said, hey, we kind of run a media group, kind of, we do, really. And I'm like, could we be on the red carpet? And they said, yeah, come on aboard. And we got there, it's pretty rough when me and Andrea, our first interview is with the Oak Ridge Boys. Life is rough when we get to be with Mr. Goldman and his offspring, which, I mean, they're not little tiny offspring. These are big adult offspring that have been in the music industry honestly, the Goldman family, if you combine their life service to music, it could easily 500 years of service to the music industry with Oak Ridge Boys, and then what they're doing as well. Amazing group, amazing people. And the best part of it is we could take the conversation with Mr. Goldman and say, what do you tell our indie artists? What is the steps for our indie artists to get out there? And again, the same answer, and I want to say anonymously, that's not the right word. Unanimously was stick to it, be involved, get your hands dirty, don't stop working. And we've got CW here who doesn't stop working as well. And
that is the big one. Perseverance is probably one of the most critical parts, in my opinion.
So I think our plan is, we were planning something a little bit bigger on another date, but I think we're going to plan the WeP3 Nashville Takeover Part 2, and do our second National Takeover event, and I think we're going to try and come down and celebrate your nominations and your wins while you're down there, and hopefully get to talk to you on the red carpet too.
Yeah,
so
fingers crossed on that part.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Mr. Waldrep, good to see you, brother.
Thank you, Mark. First of all, let me apologize for being late. I had it on my calendar for 6:30 for some reason. I know Andrea sent it. I looked back and Andrea told me the right time. And, I'm just dumbo Alabama boy. We can't tell.
No, you're good.
It was still daylight outside, and I thought, I had time. So
you're good, brother. And we know how busy you are. So it's an honor for us to have you here and willing to share your mission with us. And so
it's an honor to be here. I appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you. That's a two-way street.
So we met you actually, I think it's been almost 2 years ago now. You were helping another musician down in Nashville on I don't believe that was the Stop 22 tour. Chris Turner was on a tour. What was the name of that tour he was on?
Yeah, it's a tour that we do called the Freedom Tour. And that's something that we do through our organization, Warriors on Mission. And we hooked up with Chris a few years ago, and he and I really bonded. And he became very interested in what we were doing as a mission. I became very interested in what he was doing as a musician. And so we just began partnering together to advance what we do through Chris's talents as well as the other things that we do. And so I had this idea for this Freedom Tour, and Chris was a natural fit. So it began with that. And you were actually at the very first show that we did, the kickoff show.
Yeah. And then we got to do his final show with him as well that year, which was again another blast. We got to hang out and it's been a blessing. Tell us about, I would say, your mission, but your hands are full. Tell us about the things you're working on.
Well, all right. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. It's not only through music, but we have a few other things that we do. We write books and do research and make films. And all of this is geared toward reaching out to the veteran community. And we really are narrowly focused on post-traumatic stress and moral injury. So we're trying to help vets who are struggling with that to find some healing and some hope along the way. And started back in actually 2011. I started as part of what we do, I started a film production company called Front Porch Media and Entertainment, expressly to make documentaries. And the first documentary we made was on post-traumatic stress. Really eye-opening for me. I didn't know that much about it. And actually through making that film, I learned that my dad, who was a World War II vet, had severe post-traumatic stress. We just didn't know about it. Wish I'd known about it, when he was still alive. Probably could have helped out some, but it really just took that on as a mission. It wasn't my intent. I always tell people that, I kind of fell into the hole of missions to veterans. That wasn't my plan. But once we started that documentary, we just saw, we really just wanted to educate the general public about post-traumatic stress, because there was, if you think back to, 2010, 2011, there wasn't a lot out there. It's getting a lot more attention now. But, we just wanted to educate the general public. But instead, as we interviewed vets and heard their stories, we realized that this film could help veterans. And so we took a project that was intended to raise money to do other films. Because, I had the idea that I'd sell the DVD. You remember DVDs, don't you? We used to have those. I'd sell the DVDs for $19.95. That's what we all paid back in 2011, 2012 for a DVD. And once I saw some of the film clips that came in, the early footage, and I heard these men and women telling their story, I told the director, I said, there's no way we could sell this video. I think it's going to be too helpful to vets, and we can't charge them for it after all they've paid. So we decided to give it away for free. And Mark, what I started out to do to make money off of became a deep, dark hole that I had to go raise money for because I say we give them away free, but nothing's free. Somebody's got to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and we run into that problem all the time, even in ours, because people said, well, why don't you patron your show? Well, because I want to make sure the people that needs to hear it. And whether it's 25 cents or $5, everyone values their resources. And if we are losing someone because they don't have the $5 or would rather spend their $5 on something else and they don't get to hear the content, then we've missed an opportunity. And so we're in the same boat with you all.
Right.
Stutter. We're in the same boat as you all the time, only in the fact that I want people to hear the content. I want people to hear the conversation. And because of that, we have to do the extra boots on the ground mission of fundraising. And again, we want to get you to. Well, let's look at one of your clips real quick. You all right with that?
Yeah. Yeah, the first film we did was Invisible Scars. We did a follow-up film called Honoring the Code. So I don't know which clip you've got. This is the new film. This is the one we're working on right now.
All righty. Do not do that.
For the next 3 years, every time Ron tried to kill himself, I saved a round and I put it in my sock drawer because I don't really know why, but I think I kind of needed to remind myself that I was helping and not hurting him more. So I did that to just let myself see, look, he could have been dead this many times over.
I had just gotten back from a trip down to North Carolina, business trip, and just that night I sat in my truck and I always carry a gun, and I put it to my head. And I thought of her, and I thought of our son.
Suicide is more than leaving skeletons in a closet. It's leaving a legacy of great, unspeakable pain.
And my sisters had put a sheet up to welcome home Eddie. It said, and something happened. Someone asked me an awkward question. Someone said, "Did you kill anybody while you were there?"
I think we kind of push my brother into trying some of these things that we think, oh my gosh, this would be so good for you to open up and talk about. But what we're doing is slicing open a wound.
I mean, for a long time, I couldn't blow dry my hair in the bathroom when he was in there because he would smell burnt hair. But it would trigger something in him. You know, I mean, I don't want to be associated by blow drying my hair to picking up the burnt remains of someone.
Training to go to war, for me, is nowhere near as difficult as preparing to come home and deal with the unknown.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about family and faith, nothing else.
I need to apologize. There's a part of that clip that starts off with a young man who apparently was part of the aftermath of a suicide by a parent, and so that part was cut off, and I apologize. A lot of, and before you came on tonight, Bob, we were Jonathan put the news materials out about May being Mental Health Awareness Month, and we got into the conversation about children and their ability to cope or not cope, and how we're trying to train, or should find a way to train, kids in our schools how to cope, and that there needs to be a baseline to that. But that's the same conversation about what this video is about. Coping in a different manner.
Yes, it's taking a look, instead of looking at it from the warrior's perspective, this film is going to look at it from the family's perspective. And that's why it's called Trauma Comes Home, because when a vet comes home with his personal trauma, he brings that trauma into the house, and it's almost like an infection into the entire family. But the family doesn't recognize that. So I think this is going to be a pretty groundbreaking film right here to really, you know, open folks' eyes to it. We deal with the issue of the impact of suicide, but also we deal with if a soldier's killed in battle, how does that impact the family? They still have to live with that. When someone comes home with post-traumatic stress and falls into alcoholism, drug abuse, what's the impact on the family? So you'll hear a lot of family stories in this. And just real quickly, if I can, that young boy that you mentioned, his dad did commit suicide. And when I was interviewing him, I asked him, what was it that you feel like you missed the most by not having your dad there? And he paused and reflected, and he said, I didn't have anybody to teach me how to shave. And I thought about, wow, that's pretty telling that, it cuts that deep. It cuts that deep to even he's thinking about the fact that, he's starting to grow facial hair and nobody's there, to show him how to use a razor and do it the right way. So it's tremendously impacting, and we need to consider that. So I'm glad y'all are already talking about that also.
Well, and this is something we've been taking on as a theme for a while. And, these spouses, these children, these family members, they didn't sign up for the mission. They're just along for the ride. And they get to deal with all the stuff that comes through the door. Now, our organization supports veterans and first responders, and it's exact same pieces when it comes to those. Our police officers are walking through the door. Some of them are not walking through the door on the daily because of the way our cultures are working right now. But those families didn't sign up for it. There's a whole nother narrative I get tied up into, not by choice, but then we've got those people that like to say, well, they knew what they were getting into. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You don't plan for this kind of stuff. You don't get into it to plan to lose a loved one. You don't get into plan to go into battle. You don't get into it to do those kinds of pieces. So,
you could talk to guys and gals who have been there, and nobody can ever imagine how bad it is. They can think they're prepared for it, but they'll all tell you until you're there, you just can't realize what it's like. I interviewed for this new film also a master sergeant that was training these men, and he told the story of one who went over, but this was over in the Middle East, and he got there and he came across the after effects of an IED, and he saw all these bodies, torn apart, and he was never the same after seeing that. He wasn't under fire. He just came upon the aftermath. So I can't imagine the horror of it, what it's like.
No, I bless you. Bless you for, because you're in the trenches, having these conversations, and I'm sure it weighs on you in a different way that probably you didn't expect as well. And, you look behind the curtain, you're not always going to like what you see. And, but they are the stories that need to be heard. And this is how we grow. We appreciate you being on here, Bob. We're going to have a couple more questions for you. I'd like to pull Mr. Wooten into this conversation. Have you ever heard Mr. Wooten play, Bob?
No, I haven't. I hope I get to.
Well, you will tonight. You'll get to. CW, again, so good to have you back with us. We had you on about a month ago. We did a shared set with Miss Jen Ford, and wanted to always a conversation. What can we do to get to the next step? And us as a production, you as a production, Jen as a production, and we had some special guests on that night. Mr. Ramus with the American Veterans Ball out in National Harbor, and that is coming up this coming week. And I'm really excited. I do get a chance to go out there and be part of that event. And Jen Ford's worked it out where she can be out there for that part of the event. Dave Bray is in music entertainment. I think we're trying to plant some seeds that maybe there will be a duo maybe next year. Two acts. Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to try to go, but I had 2 gigs that I was already committed to. I'm like,
it's tough when you're working, man. It's tough when
for
you're
sure,
working.
for sure.
No, it's going to be good, and it's going to be fun. Tell us what you guys are working on right now.
We got a few new songs that we're working on and trying to get them prepped up and polished up a little bit before we go into the studio, because studio time's not cheap. So I'm going to make sure we kind of got our sense of how we want the flow of the song to each of the songs to go, so we can go in there and hopefully get it done as quickly as possible, so that way we get it turned around and start and get those out so everyone can hear them.
Which song do you want to start with tonight?
Let's go with the one that I probably released. Well, let's see. Well, Back to Wichita was nominated by the Mississippi Music Foundation for Song of the Year. We didn't win, but we were glad to be nominated.
All right.
And we have a Josie nomination for Music Video of the Year for Same Old Star. So how about let's go with Same Old Star?
Let's go with Same Old Star. This is CW Wooten, or CW and 20 Hands High with Same Old Star.
Sometimes it's hard to see what's right before my eyes. Looking past the obvious, hearing the same old lies. Can't keep doing the same. Gotta make a change. Give it a whirl. Let's go, girl. 'Cause life may never be the same. What if we wished upon that same old star? What if we went along with our lonely, broken hearts? What if we gave love a chance, right where we are? What if we wished upon the same old star? Falling hard for someone who I can never explain. Blows our mind every time, finding out the truth way too late. What if we wished upon that same old star? What if we went along with our lonely, broken hearts? What if we gave love a chance,
Gosh, you can't help dancing in your chair on that one. I love it.
How long you been doing this, CW?
Pardon?
How long you been doing this?
5.5 years.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot more of you, is what I think.
I hope so. That would be awesome. Yeah, the star of that video was Hadley, the blonde girl, and the Chevy pickup. Lots of people have liked both aspects of the video.
Where was that video filmed?
So the outdoor stuff was filmed in Bennett, Colorado. It's a little town east of Denver. And then where we were playing on stage was actually where I was playing a show last night. It's the Whiskey Baron Dance Hall and Saloon in Colorado Springs.
Okay. I just saw Yellowstone. And again, I'm from Cody, Wyoming. So when you say Yellowstone, it means a lot more than just the TV show.
For sure.
You know, it's a bigger piece for me. But I was just wondering if that was my great state of Wyoming.
Yeah, there's a famous steakhouse up there. One of my friends said we should come up there and play.
In
The
Cody?
name escapes me at the moment.
Cassie's.
Yeah.
Cassie's.
Cassie's. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
They're like, you need to come up and play Cassie's. I'm like, well, we'll reach out to them and see what we can make happen.
I actually know the people who own Cassie, so I don't think that'll be a big deal at all. So,
right on.
We were scheduling or planning they do in that. So Cody, Wyoming is rodeo capital of the world. I think there's a couple places that lay that claim, which I'm not territorial. Be the rodeo, whatever you want. Rodeo every single night from Labor Day, or I'm not Labor Day, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. There's a rodeo every single night. And then they have a championship rodeo during the week of the 4th of July. Well, we were in the mix of working with, it's called the Stampede, working with them to get veteran and first responder musicians out there. And the people that owned the resort that we were talking to put all of our musicians to stay there, actually sold that ranch and bought Cassie's. And so that's the connection. And so
cool. Yeah. Small world.
It is a small world, and Cody makes it even a smaller world. We're getting a couple. One of our Facebook users out here is Mr. Travis Partington of Oscar Mike Radio. He is, and then Michael Madsen of Foxhole Entertainment or Radio is popping on right now. But Travis knows Mr. Waldrep well.
Yeah, Travis is a good man. Travis, good to see you. Things are going great for us. Appreciate you, all the things that you do to help us and others.
I would say ditto to that. Great man, great mission, and doing his stuff. And apparently Mr. Madsen knows you too.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Madsen, another Michael good guy too, helps out and does a lot for not only where he's at around the Atlanta area, but he makes his way over to my territory in Alabama and does some stuff over here as well. He's a traveling man.
Mr. Madsen is helping us on a number of areas. He is helping us relaunch and reboot our WeP3 Radio, which is an exclusive veteran and first responder radio station, and he's manning that ship for us, and we greatly appreciate everything he's doing. He's getting more work done on than we are, only in the fact that we've got some logistical issues with manpower right now, and we'll get it figured out. We'll get it up. It's important to get this content, again, back to the beginning of the show. It's important to get this content out, delivered, and available to veterans and first responders. And you don't have to be a veteran and a first responder to enjoy Mr. Wooten's music. I mean, there was nothing in there that talked about machine guns and anything like that. It was looking at the same star, and maybe you're both wishing on it at the same time. And That's
Sounds like a song right there. Nice job, Peterson.
well, that's what it was. It was a song. Weird.
Weird.
I can tell you what CW is. Down here in Alabama, we call him a country singer.
Singer. Yeah. I've heard that.
He's all country. That's good, CW. I enjoyed your song. Really good.
Thank you, sir.
Very
Thank you, sir.
And we'll have some more coming up too. I don't know. I've listened to them over and over since you were here before, CW, and I can't pick my favorite of the 3 that you brought on. So tonight I'll think about it some more as we listen to some more of your music.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, I wanted to ask, I know you had a few things in your note that you listed. You had the Crosswinds Foundation and you talked about Front Porch Media already. And then I've seen a lot of things, Warriors on Mission as well. Is that your foremost mission?
Yeah, it has become that. The mothership, as we call it, is Crosswinds Foundation. And that was the original nonprofit that we started, which is really to deal with cultural issues. You know, we have a lot of shifts going on in our culture, constantly changing. And so we started to address some of those. And, like I said, we made the film, just telling you straight up, I was making that film to make money to fund other projects that I always say that I wanted to do. I did not intend to have a veteran outreach or service organization. But what happened is we kept getting requests for the films, and folks from the grunts out there to the generals were contacting us and had seen our film and were wanting to get more. And so we did the second film, and then we're on this third film now, and we give all of them away. We have no marketing strategy. We don't do marketing because keep in mind, we're covering everything for free. It's like one of my staff was going to be on NPR radio one day, and he said, "You want me to promote the films?" And I said, "No, do not mention that we give free films away." So, people just kind of find us by word of mouth, and we've given away over 50,000 DVDs.
Oh, wow.
But now we do, and they've gone to every continent has requested films except Antarctica. So I always say, if you know somebody that's stationed in Antarctica, tell them we'd like to cover all 7 continents. But they're streaming now. You can go to our website, warriorsonmission.org, and you can stream the films. So we still get some DVD requests, but mostly folks are streaming them now, and that's a lot more financially in line with what we need to be doing also. So, but that's the Warriors on Mission has become the biggest part of that. We have another organization that's under that called Centers of Hope. And that's actually the outreach arm of what we're doing. That's where we really boots on the ground, try to get, vets involved. And Mike Madsen, for example, he's had our training at his post. And, we try to go out and give training. And then others, can take this on, and we use a curriculum. I'll show you. Here's the book. This is from all the films. We developed this book called Warrior Hope, and it's a 10-week course that vets just go through and really learn the ins and outs. But it's really about creating community. One of the things we're big on, which is what you guys are big on as well, by the very title of what you're doing here, is that with your military service, it's very important that somebody has your 6. And, when you talk to vets, or active as well, they'll talk about how important that is but yeah, these men and women, that kind of falls behind. They no longer have somebody that has their 6. And when you're dealing with trauma, you need somebody that's helping you, that's got your 6, and you need to be helping them. So the main thing I learned from doing all these films is telling your story is the most helpful thing you can do. Just share your stories. Storytelling is tremendously healing when it comes to mental and emotional trauma. But it's the thing that most vets don't want to do. They don't want to tell that story. So we help them tell your story. And that's the whole purpose of what we're doing. and through that to get the help that you need.
That is amazing. Actually, we met a lot of people in Nashville who were. I have to say, I might have bought your books as well. I know I have one for sure. Now I have to go back and look. That's been a while.
Yeah.
We always want to train our board members as well, and those who jump on with us any way, any fashion that we can, that supports, any sort of mental stress, PTS, suicide awareness, all of that. And signs of suicide is a big one too. Even as a teacher, that all helps to have that background and that information, because you never know. I heard something, or I read it. I think I heard it this morning on one of the news stations, and a gentleman, I believe he was a congressman, he made a comment, and it had to do more with active shooters than suicide, but suicide fell in line with it as well, because of course it was all about gun ownership. But he made a comment about there are always signs of someone who is capable or thinking or contemplating any sort of shooting or suicide. And I have to disagree. I mean, sure there are, but I think we'd all fall into, on any given day, we could fall into a sign of what to do. But it has to be more regular. It has to be something that we can trust as a sign of your mental health. And sadly, I don't think there's always a giveaway sign, especially not to those that are closest to these people. So I don't know the answer, but the more training and more information we can get, the more we're aware of what to watch for.
Yeah. And Andrea, I think one of the most important things we can do is just talk about it, make it something that it's okay to talk about, hey, if you're struggling or you're having, thoughts, share it with somebody. It's okay. We got to take the stigma away from it. I love one of the guys we interviewed in our film is Dr. Ted George, and he's with the National Institute of Health up in Washington, D.C., and he's an expert on the brain. And he said that he doesn't so much believe that people want to die, that's why they commit suicide. He said, I believe they just don't know how to live. There's a lot of wisdom in that. He said, they want to live, they just don't know how to do it. They're like, he put it this way, he said, it's like being in a house and there's no windows and no door. You want to get out, but you don't know how, so you just run around. So, I think if people can begin to talk about it and say, look, and like one of the things we want to do in this film that we've just made, where we have these family members talk about suicide, how it impacted them, is hopefully somebody contemplating suicide can hear their story and say, wait a minute, this is going to affect my family as well. I need to get help. And they'll hear a lot of guys in there that was contemplating suicide, but didn't because something was impressed upon them. Just there was one little thing that just a second that clicked in and prevented them from doing it, and said, I got to get help. So get help, talk about what you're struggling with, and it's okay to get help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're flawed or defective or a coward, or you're not as strong as other vets or warriors who have served. It's okay. And I want to say just one other thing, Mark, to jump on something you said. You mentioned first responders, and I'm glad you guys do that. We've struggled with that a lot ourselves, or whether we should branch out into that. But what we found is first responders are very much like those who served in the military. They have a lot of the same struggles. Yep. And when they come to our films or watch our films, invariably I'll have first responders come up to me and say, man, I watched your film and that's what I have, and I'm going to go get help. In fact, we had a fireman come to our premiere that we did, and he walked out of the theater and said, I needed this. This helped me. And then he copied an email that he sent to everybody in his firehouse, telling them, I just found out I have PTS and I'm going to get help, and you guys need to get help too. He's destigmatized it. That's what we need to do. So that's what you guys are doing through what y'all are just having these programs and talking about it. So I appreciate that.
Well,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
I want to lift Pat Cornwell up. He's throwing the shots at me right now, but interesting that there's a connection with Miss Eichmann, with the mayor of Thermopolis, Wyoming, used to be in Andrea's life as an employer. But I do want to raise up Pat is the police chief there in Thermopolis, and I do want to lift up. I'm hearing good news, but Sergeant, and I'm sorry, Pat, if I mess this up, but Mascoro, they did have, and I won't put all the details. I won't say the details. Pat can share what he'd like to on here if he wants to share anything, but raise that family up to you. He is a police officer in Thermopolis, and just that family needs a little bit of support right now in that community. So, and we love our network of people that reach out, and that is the law enforcement sector of our connections. And so our hearts are with you and your community of Thermopolis, Pat. And so keep up the good work out there. And if you need anything, let us know. And quit saying I'm pretty, because that's cool. I don't want people to raise the argument. That's what I really don't want. What are you laughing at, Wooten?
Just a chuckle.
I have to give homage as well, CW. My father was a handlebar mustache wearer as well, and I've contemplated going down that path. It's a lot of work. I mean, you got to train that thing.
It's high maintenance. Some days I'm like, I need a pair of scissors. But it's been part of my look for a while now. So I don't. My bandmates told me, they said, you can't cut your hair, can't cut your beard, can't mess with your mustache. I'm like, great.
Branding. It's branding. I mean,
well, they may be part of the new logo like that. I'm like, well, I guess it's going to have to be like that for at least 2 or 3 years anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the next song on our playlist, brother?
Let's do Back to Wichita. Okay. This has been our most popular song. It's been streamed over 350,000 times. So people may have heard it playing in retail outlets last summer and fall. It was being played inside of Walmart, Best Buy, Little Caesars, Subway, Ace Hardware, and a ton of other places. And just that alone was played over 230,000 times, I think. And there were 3 cities that cracked 10,000 plays, and one of them shocked me a little bit. Dallas and Houston, I sort of expected. Those are very large cities, so just by virtue of population, you would hope it would do well there. But the one that beat both of them was Los Angeles. I was like, wow, all right then.
Let's get her done. Is there a story behind Back to Wichita?
Yeah, it is. There's a friend of mine had lost his job and broken up with his long-term girlfriend, all in like a very short period window of time. And, and kind of recognizing he was not okay, he's like, man, I'm going back home for a while. I just kind of need a mental reset. I'm like, So one night, now he's not from Wichita, but for some reason that city name popped in my head. I'm like, man, he's going back to Wichita. And I'm like, oh. So I ran in the house and wrote the song in under an hour. And just recently, it was released to Texas radio, and it's been in the top 10 downloads for the last 2 weeks. And we're climbing the charts slowly but surely, because it's our first song out on Texas radio. In fact, crazy thing was, I played a show last night in Colorado Springs. As soon as the show was over, I packed up my stuff, and I drove to Texas. Aside from a little 2-hour nap I took on the way down, I'm driving all day. I literally got here 10 minutes before this podcast started.
Oh,
Yeah. So from Colorado Springs to San Antonio, that's not a short trip. But I start a radio tour that starts tomorrow morning at 8:30 to talk about the song with various radio stations all over Texas. We'll be in Kerrville, Lubbock, Abilene, Amarillo, and a few other places. Just going on, meeting some folks and talking about our song, and hopefully we'll get people introduced to it, and they'll request it to be played on the air a little more often.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
This is CW. And I was going to say 20 hands high, but that's not true. That's not 20 hands high. CW and 20 hands high with Back to Wichita.
Right on.
Best five whole seniors have played all across the nation's been played. So we're pretty freaking excited about it. Come on, y'all, let's take a little trip to Wichita. Made me think it was my plan. Your southern charm and wit have always been your gift. The downfall of many a good man. But there you go again, off with my best friend, acting like you done lost your mind. Well, I ain't about to stay with you treating me this way. So love is not really blind. Oh, the whiskey gets me before you do. I can't let my heart fall. I'll be throwing down my second round. Then I'm headed back to insane, but your words feel just like a slap. I can tell by that look in your eye, you ain't ever coming back. Hope the whiskey gets me before you do. I can't let my heart fall. Second round, then I'm headed back to Wichita.
That is CW Wooten and Back to Wichita.
Yeah, we were fortunate with this song because we'd actually never played a show in Wichita before till after the song was already written. And it just so happens the venue we played in Wichita, the folks also own a radio station. So I made sure they got an advance copy. They were playing that on the air before you could even get it via streaming or anything. So they were pretty excited about it.
We have a new friend down in Texas radio. We will be making sure they have your name, and I guarantee you there will be a conversation with Mr.
Right on.
Graves. So, exciting stuff. Exciting to have you in our network. Excited for our purposes of your being a veteran, and then you're out there getting your message out there. There is a message in these songs. A lot of people are just going to get out there and dance to them, but if people want to spend time and get the understanding and the meaning, then there's a whole nother level of why this is being put out there.
Yeah, there's an old saying that goes, when you're happy, you hear the music. When you're sad, you hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth in that.
100%. Mr. Waldrep, what's next? What's the next big thing for Bob Waldrep and Warriors on Mission?
Well, we're in the final editing process on the new film, and we will release that July 27th. We'll have a premiere here in Birmingham, and then the following weekend we'll premiere it in Chicago, and then we'll premiere it the 2 weeks from that in Middleburg, Ohio, which is right below Dayton. And we're working on a premiere for Nashville. I don't have the details for that yet, but we're talking to the Nashville Palace about doing something there to premiere it. So we'll get that released, and so we're finishing that up. We're kicking off a new project. We will develop a family curriculum just like we have for Warriors. So families will be able to come together in small groups and be able to help each other, and hopefully do that in conjunction with the veterans. So the veterans can be having a Warrior Hope meeting, and then their families can be meeting to do the curriculum for the families. So we're developing that, and then we're going to be doing some stuff about getting this more out there. We did the Freedom Tour that you came to. We did 14 shows that year. And part of that, Mark, was also training VFW Post or American Legions been using our material. So the next year, last year, we only did 5 shows. And the biggest reason for that is because we were pouring so much energy into the film, which is also took up a lot of time this year. So we'll have done 5 shows again this year by the end of the year. So next year we're going to go back like we were the year we kicked it off, and we'll probably do 12 to 14 shows again. So that's going to be a big part of what we're doing. And I don't think we told the folks what we actually do is we go and just give a free concert to veteran organizations, VFWs, American Legions, DAVs, whoever. We pay for the show, and Chris comes out and performs. And then hopefully that'll get some folks on their site, but also will help get the word out about, what we're doing and how you can come to this post and you can actually get help there. And they're establishing an outreach to those. So it's a training process. So the music's a big part of it. And one other thing that we do is we'll do, prior to COVID, we were doing 2 shows a year where we brought vets in to write a song with a songwriter. And so we'd bring 4 or 5 songwriters in, and they would work with a veteran and get their story and turn it into music. And then we'd have a show. But it's always a fun show. We'd do a show, and people would come in and we'd let them vote for the best song, And the way they voted is with dollar bills. Every dollar bill that you gave was a vote for whoever you thought had the best song. You know where that's going, don't you, CW?
You betcha.
That's like a big tip jar right there.
For sure.
So and then we could do that. We use that to do the other things we were doing for veterans because, you got to, like I said, you got to pay for all this stuff.
Absolutely.
And so we want people in the community to help us, to help veterans,
Very nice.
So, and that's if I could be so bold for you guys, what y'all are doing is also freely given to folks. So I would encourage, if you're listening to this program, you need to support what Mark and Andrea are doing. I'm sure that they have a way that you can do that. And I imagine they would take any form of payment that you could send in. If you wanted to send cash or checks or credit cards, PayPal, whatever, I'm sure that they've got a way that you can give. And, look, they're doing this and they're not charging anybody. I can tell you personally, I know they're having a great impact. I've seen them around the Nashville area a few times, and they go everywhere else too. And they give our good folks like CW. And I see I've learned some new music today. I know another country singer.
Right on.
So, reach down in your pocket and help these folks out. Help what they're doing, because I guarantee you, you can't make a better investment. You'll get your money back, and it won't be money you get back, but the service that they give will pay forward to help a lot of folks. So I appreciate you guys again, what y'all are doing. Keep at it. Don't give up.
You're a blessing, man. You are a blessing, and we are absolutely honored to have you on here. And just your words are eloquent, and your mission is even tenfold that. And we just thank you for all the work that you do, and your boots on the ground, because it's we keep talking about we are in a race. We're in a race because we want to get through this as quickly as we can and get as much as done as we can. But there's no finish line to this race. I mean, The only thing we're racing to do is save more lives. And that's the piece where we're at. Real quick, we want to make sure we do our buddy checks every week. We actually do them by a 6-pack. It takes 0.6 seconds to send a text out there to a brother or a sister. I don't even care if it's a veteran or first responder. People, reach out to someone. There is nothing wrong with building those relationships and just saying, hey, what? I was thinking about you today, and I just want to know that you're in a good spot right now, and life's going. And you know what? You might get a conversation back saying, hey, life is good and great, thank you. But you might also get that conversation. I know this is why people struggle with doing those conversations, because they might say, you know what? I got some struggles right now, brother. And if it's something that you don't want to carry, reach out to any of us on the screen. I guarantee you will pick up a phone. But reach out to the People's Patriot Project, and we will carry that load for you. That's what we do. I know Mr. Waldrep is in that space. They do the trainings. They'll get. I would like to get more of these posts, the VAs, not VAs, the Legions and the VFWs. Let's get training done. Let's make sure that people have the tools in the tool belt. And the only way we're going to reach our brothers and sisters is by we actively engage. Actively engage. If you're not actively engaged, then you are okay with picking up the phone call tomorrow and hearing, well, so-and-so took their life last night because they didn't feel a value. And
that's never an easy call. Never. Not ever.
You don't want to get that call. So invest your 6 seconds right now and reach out to your brothers and sisters. This is proactive. We get into these arguments, and if you are doing push-ups, 22 push-ups, a gate recognition, I support you. Do that. That's your mission. Do it. Go do it. Do your 22 push-ups. We get people on here saying that's not doing jack. I don't care. Do something. Do something. Our mantra is, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're doing nothing, then you're okay with what's happening. There's the truth.
Hmm.
We'll have another segment here, and we're ramping down. We're a little over. We just need to be truthful in the future. Now we're past the one. I don't know how the news can cram all their useless information into 30 minutes, but and have commercials.
Right.
And we can't get this done in the hour that we put, because the content is meaningful. The relationships are real. The people chiming in, Pat Cornwell, Travis Partington, the Crutzingers, all these people that are engaged and involved are boots on the ground in their communities, and they can take the information that we're providing back to the people that are in their network. Do we want to grow this thing? We do. We've had a great number of people reaching in. Jeremy Daniels, keep getting it done, brother. I know you've got your stuff, and we're with you. It is not a secret, and we are with you, brother. We are with you. We'll get this. We'll get something put in place. I hope it's soon enough, brother. That's where my frustration and your frustration meet. Is we know that you're struggling, and so and Jeremy has zero problems with the words that I'm saying, only in the fact that he shares daily. He's one of those that was put in the mix of the burn pits, and he's dealing with the ramifications of that, and he does need support. He has been affected. His life has been altered because of this, and he's got the documentation, he's got all that, and we need to get our brother taken care of. And so back to Mr. Waldrop's message, we say all the time, we need to be ready so we don't have to get ready. Any mission that is boots on the ground, progressive, moving forward, there are plannings, there are trainings, and that's what we put all those pieces into play behind the scenes for us, but we don't have the resources. The time, the talent, and the treasure is what you have, and we could use each and every one of you that are listening to this. You have a skill or something in your life that can benefit the mission to save lives. Everyone that hears this, whether it's on the podcast or live stream, everyone's got a gift, time, talent, or treasure. And we don't ask for a lot. We just ask, and our constant mission statement is that we will do as much as we can with what we have. And we're not going to bitch and complain and whine about what we don't have. There's a lot of things I don't get to do because we don't have the resources, and we have these conversations all the time. I'm not blaming anyone that's listening to this, but we do need to activate the 90% of our country that does not have skin in the game, that has not. Everyone has this uncanny ability to lay their heads on the pillows of freedom daily, and not worry about who's coming in your back door, because our first responders and because of our veterans that have been on the front lines. And so think about that. All the special things you get to have in your life is because someone bought and paid for it. And I know you worked hard for it. Don't get me wrong. I know you worked hard for it. You've earned it, but there's a reason why you get to keep it. And that's because of men like this who are on our show tonight. That's who got you that. And you can argue with me. I'm fine. I'll listen to the argument. I'll listen. I'll engage in that conversation anytime. Call me up. Numbers on all the things we do. I'm okay with that. I've been getting some weird messages though lately too, that I would not apply for some of the stuff that's getting sent to my phone. And I was like, no, you get one shot to mess up, and then I block you, and then we move on and try and help someone else. So,
Mark, I'll tell you real quick. You made me think of something. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vets, and the common theme of those who are dealing with trauma is you'll hear something that goes like this. When I was in the military, every day I got up, I knew what my mission was, and now I don't have a mission. Now that I got home, I don't have a mission. mission is critical. It's critical to have a mission, and that mission can be what CW is doing, getting out and playing and communicating through your music. You got to have a mission, something to get up for every day. And I know that, some of the men and women listening are probably thinking, well, I don't really have any problems. I serve, but, well, fantastic. I'm glad you don't, because about, 70% don't really have any long-term problems because of their service. So be grateful for that. But get on mission. All right. There are those who are suffering, and you can have a mission to them. You can do what Mark's doing. You can do what Andrea's doing. You can do what CW's doing. You can have a mission. Get on mission. Get up off your derriere, should I say, and get out there and help folks. And it's there. The opportunities are there. So look for them. Sometimes I hear people say, well, I don't know how to find a vet. Well, most of them are walking around with a ball cap on that says vet. Look for them. That'd be your first tip. They're easy to find. Go up and, help them out. Do what you can for them. So anyway, let me tell you, if any of you that's listening or any of your folks that you are connected with want to have a freedom tour and are interested in getting more information, they can email me at my personal email address is bob@crosswindsfoundation.org. And Mark, if you got show notes, you can put that up. But they can email me and say, I'm interested, and I'll, get back with you for next year what we're going to be doing. And, like I said, it's free, but that doesn't mean you don't have to do some stuff. We're not just giving them to people who, just want to have a concert. We want you to get on mission as a result of it. And then the other thing is we've got a lot of resources, books and things that we've written, and it doesn't have to be done in a group. You can do it by yourself. If you can't afford a book that we have, you email me and say, I can't afford it, and I'll send you one for free. I'll cover the cost. All right. So look, I don't know what more we can do for you than that, unless we have to come read it to you,
Well, it might have to come in an audio book. I do have this Hope for a Warrior. It's autographed and signed by someone on the screen here. It's even dated, so I can say, on April 3rd, 2021, we were hanging out with Mr. Waldrep down in Nashville.
Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you guys down there again soon.
Oh, we'll make it happen, brother. We'll make it happen. All right. Mr. Wooten, what's the next big thing for you and your group? Your 20 Hands High. What's going on? What's happening?
We got a really busy summer. We've got the College National Finals Rodeo coming up. We've got the Greeley Stampede. We're at the Outlaw Saloon during Cheyenne Frontier Days. We'll be back in Wyoming to open for Craig Campbell. And we're getting ready to add a fifth member to the band. We'll make the formal announcement here soon. Let's just say that he's a pedal steel player that used to play with Charlie Pride.
Ooh.
So he's good.
Nice.
Do you think they'll like your kind of music at the College National Finals?
We played it several years, and you'd be amazed. It always makes me feel like country music is still safe when the young bucks know who Merle Haggard is. I'm like, all right, you know who Johnny Cash is. Okay, we're good. And we do a good mix of modern stuff and older stuff. So we'll play some Luke Combs and Cody Johnson and Chris Stapleton and stuff like that. But we're pretty picky about our set list.
Well, you need to play this new cat I heard of, CW and 20 Hands High. That's what you need to play. That's
we throw those in the mix. We got a couple in each set.
So this last song, apparently you named after me or something, Hillbilly Heart.
There's really three prevailing themes in country music: love found, love lost, and having a good time. This particular one is about a hillbilly getting his heart broke. Doesn't get much more country than that.
we've got CW Wooten. See, I keep throwing the Wooten in there. CW and 20 Hands High. I apologize.
No worries.
And Hillbilly Heart.
Breaking my hillbilly heart. I put out more than I ever get. Earned every dollar with my sweat. 6'4", you may be mean as a snake. How much more can my old heart take? Spend my days on a broken ranch to buy the diamond hanging around your neck. And that's my car you're driving around, hurt, cutting loose all over town. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Thought I was lost without you. Turns out I knew from the start. Don't call me on the phone or write me down the road. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Cards. You got more shoes than I got scars. Bought 'em all last for lace. Go pack up your old suitcase. I stay true, there ain't no doubt. In those fields till I ran out. But the Chevrolet with the bucket seats cost me more than a few nights' sleep. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Thought I was lost without you. Turns out I knew from the start. Don't call me on the phone or write me down the road. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Thought I was lost without you. Turns out I knew from the start. Don't call me on the phone or write me down the road. Don't you go breaking this hillbilly heart. Don't you go breaking my hillbilly heart.
That's CW and 20 Hands High with Hillbilly Heart.
Another one of just dancing in my seat. I don't dance, but those get me going. Boy, I love it.
That's the intent. What I want you to do is to lose track of time when you're on the dance floor. I want you to look at your wife like, holy cow, I should have left 2 hours ago. And inside, I'm doing this like, yes.
Yeah. Perfect. That is perfect. I'm going to have to learn how to dance, though. That's the thing. I saw you dance in your videos, and it reminds me of my dad. Always, every time, trying to do like a two-step or a what do you call it? Like a swing or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't
Western swing.
Yeah. I don't follow well. He's such a good teacher, and I'm just not a good learner when it comes to my feet and my body moving at the same time.
I always tell the young guys that said, you guys need to learn how to dance. I said, because here's the thing for the ladies. The guys have one job. Make her look good. If she looks good, she gets the credit. If she looks bad, it's your fault. So it's a win-win for the ladies.
It's 100%. Yeah, no, I got 4 boys too. I told them all, figure it out. Don't sit there and wish you would have at the end of the night. You got to get out there and figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good times. I'm sorry I was gone. I had a little puppy emergency. So I missed. Did you guys talk about Dallas?
We have not.
No? Can I throw it in there really quick?
Get her done.
Because so when Bob was saying, we do have this thing, and this is really, it's aimed at our Dallas. We have a Dallas concert coming up on May 27th, and we have tickets for sale. You can get tickets there, or you can do donations. And we actually have room for sponsors as well. And if you're interested in being a sponsor, let me know. I'm thinking we could do a little thing like adopt a musician as well. And you can adopt the musician and help take care of costs, just really their travel costs and a couple bites to eat maybe. And then I don't know, we'd like to throw them some money when they come and play and entertain us all day. But we've got Johnny Cole. He's down there in Texas. We have Old 81 Band down by Austin. They're coming to Dallas. George Dooley Band is southeast of Dallas. Tammy Joe's coming from South Carolina, and Holly Ann's coming from Terrell, Texas, right down there. We're all getting together in Capel on May 27th from 2 to 10. It's an outdoor concert, so bring your lawn chair, your blanket, bring a cooler with some snacks, and it is all about really, I've touted this as it is veterans and first responders doing what they love for other veterans and first responders. We want to just celebrate all of them on that day. The ones playing and the ones watching and listening, and everyone else who comes and enjoys the day with them. So look at this one too. Peterson. Wow. If you have your phone right now, if you're on your computer, go ahead and scan that thing or take a picture of it or something, and just go look. That's one way to get a hold of us. And of course, we've got Venmos and we've got bank, PayPal, all of that stuff going on as well. So yeah, I would say if you're in the Dallas area, and this is just north of Dallas Fort Worth Airport, Capel is. It's a nice little city, and the people are nice. The first responders, the city, the community service officer, Kelly, is amazing. And their fire department has been super welcoming as well. And so I would love to meet a whole bunch of new people on that day. So come on, see us. That's my plug. There we go. It's getting here. I'm getting nervous. It's like 3 weeks away. It's going to be fun, but you know how that is those last few weeks before a big event.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Jonathan, anything in closing?
Man, so much great stuff tonight, but I kind of wanted to focus on what Mr. Waldrep had said people don't necessarily want to die. They just don't know how to live. I think that's a big part in maybe how we approach people, moving forward, is that, you don't have to tell somebody, oh man, it's fine. Don't, just don't kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to do that, really. Just give somebody a reason to live. And like Mark says, oftentimes, most of the time, they just want somebody to talk to. They want to hear somebody that cares, somebody that is willing to put the time and effort into what's going on in their life and show them that we're here beyond just saying we're here. So put a step forward and be there for your brothers and sisters. Be a battle buddy.
Mr. Waldrep, anything in closing?
No, other than just say how much I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come on here. Love what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Keep reaching out to people and helping them. And just persist. Press on.
You're a blessing. CW, anything in your your thoughts of closing.
Well, thanks again for having me. And then I'd like to give a tip of the hat to all my brothers and sisters in uniform, past and present. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Miss Eichmann?
You know what? Just she wasn't here tonight, and I will see her tomorrow. So I don't know what was going on, but just because next weekend is fishing opener in Minnesota, if you could check out, I forgot her website already. Sparkle Sticks.
SparkleStickUSA.com.
There, USA.com. Thank you. Michelle has. She likes glitter and sparkly things. She's a veteran as well. And so she actually created the sparkle stick, and it's got a cool reel, and she's working at making lures that are sparkly and shiny, geared towards women, if I can say that without, sounding sexist. Guys, if you like those poles, you can have a sparkle stick as well. But it's in fun, and she's working with some big names. We're trying. She's doing Clam, and then she's also. I think we're gonna try to make a link. I ran into a friend last weekend who is down in the Berkeley fishing tackle world, and they're kind of nationwide. We'll have her in Bass Pro Shops before you know it. Stephen John. If Stephen John is out in the world right now, I hope he appreciates that. We'll get her sparkle sticks out in the world. Anyway, she was going to join us tonight. She actually could be fishing. It's a beautiful day in Minnesota, so she might actually be out on the river fishing right now. So just a shout out to Michelle, and thank you. And I'm sure she'll join us another day to share everything that she's got going on with those. But thank you. And next week's guest. Well, let me just mention, we have got coming up. I already scrolled. Shoot, we've got coming up Colonel retired Michael Burrows, and he's going to share his mission. He's got 1,000 sticks in the fire, kind of like us. And then musician Joey Anderson will be joining us next weekend. So come on back and enjoy these guests.
On Mondays at 4:30, we come on and give the weekly WeP3 debrief that shares specifically our mission, where we're at, what we're doing, what we're getting done. We try to reserve these nights to be for our guests that are boots on the ground. Bob was our guest tonight in that, and sharing what he's doing with Warriors on a Mission. And again, I'd like to make sure we kind of keep things tight. We have so many musicians in our network, veterans and first responders, and we enjoy what all of them are bringing to the table. We try very hard to make sure that we don't cross unless they want to do cross. Last time CW was on, Jen Ford brought him, and that was they built that. And so I'm going to say I apologize first up front, CW. I do want to give a shout out to Shannon Book and the release of his song in video form, Dear Mom. If you haven't seen it, grab your tissue and go see it. And it is the anthem that every mother who has a son or daughter in service, and I will say as a first responder, the thoughts that mothers, I mean, there are young grown ass men who have to write letters to their mothers, and they don't want to write those letters to their mothers, but in case things happen. And so it's a great, Mr. Martini did an amazing job on it. It was fun to watch the cast that is in the video. Many of them have been on our show. Eric Oligschlager with the Chattel Foundation, and Jill Stevenson, Gold Star mother, Ben Kopp. Great. And there's other people in there too that we haven't had connected. Troy Barnes, must be bittersweet for him, retiring from drumming today. He's part of Deliberately Broken. And again, we can sit here and rattle off hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tidbits of where our veterans and our first responders are. The Crutch Singers were with you after your accident today. Pat Cornwell, we're with you in your community. Ton of stuff. It's a constant go. And when we seem scattered, there's a reason why we're scattered. We're trying to make sure everyone has this information. And so it has been a blessed night because of our amazing guests tonight. Thank you for coming. You are welcome on this platform anytime you wish to come on, just to say hi or to be part of the content and the information. You're always welcome. And I know that this will not be a goodbye, but it will be a see you later. Thank you, everyone. Patriot Pride. See you tomorrow. And then we'll also check you out next Sunday. We got your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime, 1800 Central Daylight Time. We'll be here. Hope to see you there too. Patriot Pride.